On today's episode, we are going to take a look at 3 companies reporting earnings this week. So let's get started. The 3 companies I'm going to do today are going to be Disney, JetBlue, and Virgin Galactic. All 3 of these companies have been affected by the coronavirus one way or another. So in today's episode, we're going to take a look at their stock price performance, their revenue breakdown, and some recent updated articles on the company. Finally, guys, before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, the thumbs up, and the bell. It helps the small channel out so much, and I thank you guys for your support. Also, in the comments, I've actually split up the earnings for different companies, and feel free to post which one you guys actually want me to do next. I think I have over 4 groups, including like gaming industry, software industry, transportation industry. So check out that comment and make sure to post there to see which companies you actually want me to take a look at next, and hopefully I can do most of them by the end of today. Alright, so the first company we're going to take a look at is Disney. And right now, Disney is sitting at $105 stock price. But early on in February, this company was in $140 price range. So this company is still down about 25%. So it's lost about a quarter of its total value in the past few months. At the all-time lows, this company dropped even more than that. It dropped over 40%. So that's actually a big hit. It almost lost half of its valuation. And why did this company take such a big hit? One of the major reasons is a lot of this, like we're gonna see in a bit, a lot of Disney's revenue comes from theme parks and like cruise lines. So obviously that form of revenue is being shut down right now, with most of the United States and most of the world in shutdown. Not many people are going to theme parks, and even when things open back up, many people are probably not going to go to theme parks as much. So that's definitely taking a big hit on Disney. But on the bright side, there are certain stuff like Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN, which we are going to talk about later on in this episode. All right, so next we're going to take a look at this company's revenue breakdown to see where most of its money comes from. So for the most recent quarter, which ended in December 2019, this company collected about close to $21 billion of revenue. Most of that revenue actually comes from 2 places: media networks, which makes $7.3 billion. So that's close to 33%, right? If it was 21 billion, that's about 1/3. So close to 1/3 of the revenue comes from media networks. And this is, for example, any TV shows that come on in normal cable operations, and all the ads that they sell during their channels, right? So if you're watching Disney Plus, if you're watching the Disney channel or the ESPN channel and you see any ads, you see those ads are being paid through, and that's where you see that revenue in media networks. The other big portion comes from parks, experiences, and products. So this is theme parks, and this is also like their cruise lines and stuff like this. This also makes up about $7.3 billion of that revenue. So again, another 1/3. So 2/3 of this company's total revenue actually comes from those 2 things. Parks and experiences and products are actually taking a big hit right now. And that's one of the main, so 1/3 of its revenue is being impacted very, very heavily. The next, media networks, how is that impacted right now? So right now, the number one things that companies, especially big companies, do when things seem uncertain is they start to pull back on expenses in marketing. And that would be on commercial, internet ads. So if that's pulling out, then people are going to be less likely to pay ads for these networks. So they're going to most likely see a decline in ads in the media networks. The second thing in media networks, like I mentioned, includes ESPN. So ESPN at the moment, right, there are no sports going around. So that is also going to take a huge impact on this company's revenue. We're going to see later on that people are even asking for refunds for ESPN channels, because right now there's nothing really to watch. So why are people paying for that? So next we have studio entertainment. So studio entertainment makes up 3.7 billion out of that 20.8. So a little bit close to, I want to say maybe 15% of total revenue comes from there. And here's what's included are the movie theaters that come out in theaters. And here, obviously, again, movie theaters are also seeing a big impact right now because no one's going to movies. So as if you guys have not known, right now, Disney has slowed down has pushed back some of their movies. So, for example, Mulan, that was supposed to come out this year. Soul was another movie. These are all movies that have just been pushed down a little bit later on date, expecting movie theaters to kick back in. But on the bright side is Universal Studios, completely outside of Disney's realm, just released a movie Trolls outside of AMC's, and they actually did it on like streaming platforms, and it actually ended up being a big hit. So I wonder if Disney is gonna end up doing something similar to that, and only time will tell, especially right now with AMC theaters still going on a closure, and that might actually be changing the overall market for movie theaters. The other 15% or so comes from direct to consumers and international, and this is where you see ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. And this last quarter made up 3.9 billion, about 4 billion of that total 20 point something billion, $21 billion. So a little bit closer to 17-18% total revenue comes from there. But one thing to make note is this upcoming quarter, right? A lot of people, just have we seen in Netflix subscribers have soared through the roof. And I don't see why we're not going to see any difference on the Hulu and Disney Plus. So Disney Plus for this quarter that we're showing right now was pretty much just a newborn. So it had not done much in the form of entering the market. But now this upcoming quarter that's coming, Disney Plus has actually done the whole quarter. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see a huge impact there. And I'm also going to expect we're going to see huge improvements in Hulu with more people wanting to watch TV from home. But of course, just on the very bearish side, right, even of that, media networks and parks and experience make up a huge portion. But like I said, I'm pretty sure we're going to see a huge impact in that direct to consumers revenue go up. Unfortunately, direct to consumers and revenue does not make a profit at the moment, and I don't think that's going to change for this upcoming quarter. Alright, so now let's take a look at some articles from Disney. First, Disney is working with HBO, and they're gonna distribute HBO Max, which is also another subscription service, and they're gonna add it to Hulu. And this is actually showing that Hulu actually has strong partnerships with Warner Media, which is ticker T. So HBO is owned by Warner Media. And Hulu already has a lot of items from Warner Media. And now by doing this of HBO Max, it's just continuing to develop that friendship that they have. And I think that's actually pretty important. That's one way. Having friendships inside business can actually go a long way. That's actually how Disney got Pixar, because during the time, just a little backstory, this Pixar was actually owned by Apple. Well, not by Apple. It was owned by Steve Jobs. I'm not 100% sure if it was owned by Apple at the time or if it was a separate company, but it was owned by Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs and the current CEO, Bob Iger, were actually good friends. And Steve Jobs ended up selling Pixar to Bob, and that's how Disney ended up getting one of the best animation deals in my opinion, and that's how it continued with Marvel and with Star Wars. So I think having a partnership with other companies helps out in the long run. The next article I'm going to talk about is actually a pretty good news for ESPN. NFL actually plans for a full season, even though with the coronavirus. So right now they're planning on doing different items. For example, having empty stadiums or neutral sites depending on the situation of the COVID-19 this fall. And this is going to be a great thing for ESPN Plus, right? ESPN Plus. So a lot more people, if more people are not going to be able to go watch the games in-house in the show, it's going to end up helping companies like the streaming services that are providing some form of sports news and sports shows. So I do think that this is also going to help out ESPN Plus in the short terms of things. And with that, right, if they are planning on doing NFL, that's also going to increase the advertisement. So more companies are going to start advertising if obviously a lot of people are going to be watching NFL. So we're going to have people advertising during this time and increase the advertisement revenue for this company as well. So I think this is actually pretty good news for Disney and for a lot of different companies as well. So finally on Disney, let's just take a look at earnings per share estimations for this company. If you guys have been watching my channel, you guys know that I love looking at forward PE ratios, and that's how it helps me determine the company's valuation. For September 2021, this company is expected to make $4.58. So $4, let's pull up the calculator. So if we take a look at the current price of $105 and divide it by $4.58, this gives this company a forward PE ratio of about 23. So with the forward PE ratio of 23, it doesn't really scream a big buy for me at the moment, but it doesn't scream to me undervalue. I honestly do think we're going to see a really big impact on the consumer side due to Disney Plus. And if NFL does continue, we're going to see a big impact in ESPN Plus, and we're also going to see a big impact in Hulu. Unfortunately, we are going to be seeing a huge decrease in theme parks. Maybe not this quarter, because this quarter, remember, only took the close down in United States only took effect in the last 2 weeks of March. And this quarter pretty much ends at the end of March. So for pretty much most of quarter one, this company was acting in normal operations until later on throughout the season. But again, the forward PE ratio of 23 for me, it doesn't scream a big buy with the current items, but there is huge potential growth with Disney Plus and with Hulu and any form of their streaming platforms, that I think that maybe even a 25, 26 forward PE ratio will still be kind of good for me. So let's go $4.58 times 26 gives this a current price of close to $120. Again, this doesn't mean that anything above $120 is a bad investment, but anything below $120, I personally think will be a nice investment. Again, this is just my thoughts and definitely not advice. I am not a professional. And one thing I forgot to mention, Disney is reporting earnings on Tuesday after close. The next company we're going to take a look at is JetBlue, and JetBlue is reporting Thursday before the market opens. And JetBlue and other airlines are going to take a big hit right now. I do think, especially because of the most recent news that happened this past yesterday at Berkshire's earnings call. They mentioned that they've sold out of all the airlines. All their airlines that they own have been sold out. And this to me shows that Buffett and the team are expecting more downfall on the airlines. And this news is actually going to be a self-prophecy, because they are expecting a bigger drop, so they sold out, and because of this sold out, it's actually going to cause a bigger drop. So I think this is actually going to have these airline companies being a bit more volatile than they already are. So JetBlue right now is sitting at $9.02, and compared to its all-time highs in February, not its all-time highs, compared to its highs in February, this company is down about 58%. This company has lost over half of its value in just the past few months. And if you guys have been watching my channel, some of these airlines have dropped a little bit more than others because of the balance sheets. The companies with the best balance sheets have dropped the least, and that would be Southwest and Delta. And the companies with the worst balance sheets have dropped the most, and that would be like United Airlines and American Airlines. JetBlue is one that's not too bad and not too good of a balance sheet, and that's why it's been dropped somewhere in between. So just some top articles on JetBlue. First, JetBlue was the first airline to just require customers to actually wear a mask. And I think this is actually this was pretty impressive for JetBlue to be the one to take the initiative of this. After this news, many of the top 3 other airlines have also done it. So JetBlue does it, Delta does it, and United Airlines has also done it. The only one not doing it right now is Southwest, but I think that will change in the upcoming days, especially from pressure of investors. So JetBlue in April 14th, with all the Fed giving out handouts to the airline industry, they will receive about $685 million in grant and $251 million in direct loans. So these broke down, like I said, there's grants and direct loans. The grants are pretty much free money. This company does not have to pay this back to the government or anybody back. The direct loans does need to get paid back, but it's such a low interest. Obviously, they have to do certain things to make sure they keep this money, as they can't unemploy employees, they can't fire employees, and there's other things that they have to keep in place. But this grant covers up to 56% of what the payroll costs were during the same 6 months last year. So pretty much this company's $685 million can cover up to even 3.5 months of payroll without this company even using any of its money. And I actually think that's actually pretty good. For the airlines, it shows that these airlines are not gonna fall down that easily and can help out in the bullish case for the airline industry. The second portion, which was the $251 million, is such a low interest rate, which I think, again, is probably like 1% and will have to be paid back to the government starting in October. The biggest impact, though, is obviously with huge returns possibility, there are the risky parts of a company. Obviously, the biggest thing is right now there's practically no air travel. I just did a video on Southwest and Delta, and they said that air traffic right now is about 5% compared to what it was a year ago. So it's pretty much zero. So pretty much no one is traveling right now. And the month of April actually seems pretty bad for them. They're expecting, Southwest here says that they're expecting operating revenue for the next month to fall as much as 95% from a year earlier. And they say for May, it doesn't seem any different. I know Southwest did mention that flights for June and July are looking a little bit better, but as we get closer to there, and depending on how the virus is developing, those flights can actually end up being canceled at no charge to the customer. So it's not really, it doesn't really tell us much because there's still so many unknowns. Next, looking at Seeking Alpha for expected earnings per share for December 2021, this company is expected to make $1.41. This gives this company a forward PE ratio of $6.42. That is ridiculous cheap. Normally on airlines, you have somewhere between 14 to 15 forward PE ratio. But we're seeing for JetBlue is a lot lower. When we see companies like Delta and Southwest, those forward PE ratios are over the 10 because those have a better balance sheet and are the ones that are gonna turn out the best out of all the airlines. So a forward PE ratio of 6.42 is actually not that bad in my opinion, and can actually make JetBlue have great returns if things do turn around. If things don't turn around, JetBlue will continue to fall. And finally, the last company we're talking about today is Virgin Galactic Holdings, ticker SPCE Space. And this company has been in a wild ride this year. It's gone from $10 in November to almost $40 in February to now sitting at $17.92. So this company is very volatile. This company is reporting on Tuesday after close. So a lot of big companies are doing Tuesday. So what do Virgin Galactic, I'm not going to take a look at the stock price performance because like I said, it's been so volatile and there's no real platform to really talk about the stock price performance. But if you guys don't know much about Virgin Galactic, this is probably one of the least known between Disney and JetBlue. Virgin Galactic is working on two things in the moment. The first thing is they want to do commercial travel to space. So it's pretty much flying to space for a few hours and having the customer experience zero gravity flight and that experience right there. So they're selling that experience, and they are one of the first public companies to actually try to reach this. The second thing is they want to do sonic travel. So this type of traveling is where it's pretty much just commercial airplane travel, but at a faster rate. They, for example, I forget the time wise, but it's something like right now from New York to London takes about 8 hours of travel. With their sonic travel, it would take somewhere around 3 to 4 hours instead of that 8 hours of traveling. So that, I think both of these are pretty much gonna be very impactful segments in the world if they end up working. I mean, big people with big money are definitely going to want to experience space travel. I mean, if I had the money, that's something I honestly would love to do. And the second one is pretty much more for maybe people in the middle income or the low high income range, where you'll be able to pay a premium price but be able to fly places saving time. And I think for many people, saving time is worth a lot of money, and that can end up being a very huge potential for this company. So some of the main articles here: on May 2nd, Virgin Galactic Holdings has filed is diluting pretty much an extra 150 million shares, which caused the shares to drop down a bit. But honestly, I mean, at this company, we're going to see this company at the moment makes no revenue. This company makes no positive earnings per share. And like I said, all of its potential growth this is a company with future growth at the moment. So investors right now are investing in the hope that this company will be something big. And if it is something big, then the returns can actually be pretty good. But with that risk right now is this company can actually fall. The only thing that's actually, many things are actually good, but there's sometimes CEOs that you don't want to fight against. And this is Richard Branson's baby, one of his babies. And this guy pretty much anything that he touches ends up being really good. He is a very smart guy, and the way he works around in companies, I think, is pretty impressive. So sometimes it's just the mindset. For example, not many people bet against Elon, but I mean, you have crazy days like Friday where this guy went on a tweet storm that dropped the stock price ridiculously. Sometimes the line between genius and insane are so close to each other. But right now, this company is diluting about 150 million more shares. But there are some bad. This company has also been affected by the coronavirus. First, this company did finally perform. One of the most recent news that came out on May 1st was this company did complete a flight test in the new space station that they have been working on, and this is Space Station America, which is in New Mexico. Normally, they have been doing previous flights in their previous spaceport in California, but it was a good stepping stone for this company to actually complete it in Spaceport America, because this is another place where they're going to continue to do work in. Originally, the company was estimated to do commercial flights in mid of 2020, but that's not gonna happen anytime soon. In the most recent earnings, this company actually stated that this company is now only focusing in actually sending the founder, Richard Branson, into space. And they say that at the moment they're not expecting much commercial flights during this year. And that definitely caused the stock price to drop a bit. But I think that was actually, in my mind, that I like that move, right? Because something as delicate as this should not be rushed. And if a company does rush things, it can end up leading to catastrophes that can end up going to many accidents. And this can pretty much end the company. So by them taking their time and saying, sorry guys, we're not going to be able to meet our deadline, I think it was pretty good for the company. It shows that they're not going to do stuff just to get the stock price up. They're going to make sure everything is running to perfection. And like I mentioned, right, even for December 2021, this company is not expected to make any money. So this company is more of a speculation company and a growth company. So due to that, it is very, very risky, because if things don't end up going and even one accident happens, it can definitely drive the stock price to drop down dramatically. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and make sure to check out the comments. Like I said, I have a lot of earnings coming up this week, and I've divided into different segments. So let me know which segment you actually want me to take a look. And don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up, and make sure to, I hope you guys really enjoy the information that I'm providing. I love learning so much about a company. I am completely passionate about this. So thank you guys for sitting here and listening to me. Take care, guys. Have a good night, and see you next time.